wow. This. What the hell's going on right now? This is crazy. This is unbelievable right here. Hi guys, this is khcentral here, by the way. This is unbelievable right here. This is unbelievable that this is actually happening. I never expected them to do something like this. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is not okay. You had to do it with this one, man. You had to do it with this one. I have to make a video on this, man. I have to make a video just ranting about this because I'm not only mad at the situation, I'm mad at the reason the situation is happening. I'm mad at the reason this is happening in the first place. Pure greed. Just pure freaking greed. There is a report that came out from Deadline. This headline here reads, Disney-Sony standoff ends Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige's involvement in Spider-Man. He's out. Spider-Man essentially is out of the MCU if this deal is going through. There was a secondary report that came out after that's saying that this deal right here, not exactly final yet. This is still going on right now as we speak. This is just a report. The fact that this is happening in the first place is just, ugh. So let's keep on going. So if you want to read the full article, I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can go check it out. You know, I'm not going to give a full read through here, but I'm just going to give a little summary for it. Basic TLDR of what's going on here is that Sony and Disney, ever since 2016, have been in agreement on the use of the character of Spider-Man in movies. Because if you don't know, Sony owns the film rights to Spider-Man. They own all the rights to use him in film and stuff like that. That deal was made like way back in the 80s when Marvel was about to go out of business and they had to make money somehow, so they sold a lot of their IPs. That ultimately came to bite them in the ass in the future, but that's the situation we're in. And I think Sony still does all the individual Spider-Man movies, like Far From Home and you know, Homecoming. That was mostly done by Sony. That's the deal we've had going on for years now, and it's seemed to do pretty well. But according to this, that's a very shaky future. Now, Disney is wanting a larger cut of sales from, I think, maybe the individual Spider-Man movies. I think that's what's going on, because Spider-Man Far From Home, very popular. That movie made over $1.1 billion at the box office. Disney saw this, and they're like, hey, we want some of that money, because according to this article, I think they were only getting 5% of the money that came in from it. It said 5% of every dollar made off the movie, so that all the profit that movie made, for every dollar that the movie made, Sony got 95 cents while Disney only got 5 cents. That does sound like a crappy deal when you look at it that way, but I'm gonna get into why in a second, why Disney, I think, is just being a little bit ridiculous here. We like money. We have all the money in the world, sure, but we want more. We want more than that. We can't settle for just all the money in the world. Why not? Let's just go 50-50. Let's just go that. You make 50 cents, I make 50 cents. Let's do that. How about that? And of course, Sony said no to that because they like money too. Make a jump from 5% to 50%. That's a big jump. Apparently, they tried to negotiate with them to make a better deal, but they were staying firm on the 50-50. And now that they've done that, apparently they're planning on removing him from the MCU and just taking them away from Marvel Studios altogether and the MCU as a whole. Man, this is some bullshit. There is some silver lining to this because, according to this initial report, they would still be finishing the Tom Holland movies up because, you know, they still own them and stuff like that. They would just be not allowing him being in the MCU anymore, no connection to that. They would just completely cut that off. They said 2 more movies with him. One of them was supposed to be a Venom movie, I think. Ugh, no. Again, there was a report that came out after that saying that, yeah, again, this is not finalized yet. It's still in talks, but this is definitely still happening, though. But now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about this in full. Let's really get deep into this situation, because there's a lot to dig into here and explain why it's bad, why it's not right, why this shouldn't be happening. But no one's in the right in this. No one is 100% in the right in this at all. Disney and Sony are both at fault here. They're both being a little ridiculous here. So, Disney. I want to sit down and have a chat with you for a second, because I want to explain why you're being a little bit evil here. So at first, you know, when I read this article, I thought Disney was the good guy in this because, you know, Sony, you know, they were the ones who made that seemingly at the surface bad deal. You know, they said 95 to 5 cents off of every dollar. That does sound like a very minuscule amount when you first look at it, without context. So, you know, I'm a YouTuber. I was with Maker Studios for about 2 years when that was a thing. And yeah, they gave me a somewhat bad deal. I got a 70-30 split, which, I mean, they weren't taking a full away money from me from content that I owned, but still, it was enough to where I lost a significant amount of money just based off that deal, so I can understand. But the thing you got to account for is Disney is literally the biggest thing in the fucking world. Like, Disney and you know, Marvel Studios, MCU, all the other properties, they're like the biggest thing to ever exist. I mean, they're just gobbling up studios right now. They just gobbled up 20th Century Fox, which in my honest opinion should not have been legal, but what are you gonna do? It's just the world nowadays. Disney is owning everything now, so they pretty much have all the money in the world at their disposal, but yet making 5 cents off of every dollar off a Spider-Man movie, that's not enough for you? Your reserve of every single dollar ever made ever. It's even more ridiculous when they wanted to go to 5 to 50. That's a bit of a jump right there. Sony, they still own the film rights to Spider-Man. They're not just gonna go up and say yes to that deal. Are you kidding me? Do you see how much money Far From Home made? They're not just gonna give that up easily. They said in here that they were even willing to negotiate with them to make a better deal, like maybe like 15, 20%, something along those lines to make it that much better. But Disney refused. They sat on 50-50 because apparently all the money in the world just isn't enough for them. No, here is the perfect summary of the situation. Disney is not putting the fans first. They're putting themselves first. They're putting their own greedy agenda and wants before the fans. The people they're selling their products to. The people who support them, they're not putting them first. They're not thinking about them at all. They're only thinking about themselves and how they want to make more money than the entire freaking world's supply. When fans see that, and when they see that they're getting neglected and not being put into the equation, they revolt. I mean, look at this screenshot, right? This is a screenshot of the trends that are going on Twitter as of recording this video. Aside from the promoted trend, let's see here. Sony, Spider-Man, Spidey, Tom Holland, Uncle Ben, Marvel, Peter Parker, Spider-Verse, Venom. I have never seen in my almost 20 years of living a backlash this big, this vocal, and this widespread so quickly. This is something that people can obviously see they're not being put into. They're not being put into the equation. When this deal was made, it seemed like they were putting the fans first. It seemed like they were putting them as a priority, but nope, not anymore. The greed came back in it. Disney, why are you wanting more money than all the money in the entire world? I want to ask that question, honestly. 5% off of a dollar, that's chump change for you. The other Avengers and Marvel Cinematic movies outside of Spider-Man can make up for probably tenfold. Maybe just make it a little bit better, like 15, 20%. But Disney, no, they have to go the greedy option. They have to go 50-50. They can't just accept. If they literally said nothing bad would happen. Because you have a literal infinite reserve of money. You can live without that extra 45 cents added on. Don't come at me saying, oh, we want more money. Oh, we're not getting a good deal. When you have all this other stuff going on, all they want is more. They can't just settle for all of it. They have to have more, and no matter what. This is late stage capitalism for you guys. Let's go to Sony now. Putting the greed of Disney aside, 95-30 split is pretty crappy. Think Disney should have just stayed in it for the sake of the fans. They really should have. I know this is going to sound ridiculous to some people because I guess it's subjective, but I really do think the Spider-Man movies at Sony, yeah, they're not really that good. Spider-Man 1 and 2, they are really good, solid movies, but 3, Amazing 1 and 2, those were and Venom too. Venom was not that good either. No. With the movie going over to Sony, they have to scrap the whole MCU thing altogether. And how are you going to do that with a movie that's so intrinsically tied to the freaking MCU? How are you going to do that? How is this going to happen? This is going to be literally impossible. You can't do that. There's greed on both sides. There's greed in that initial deal. There's greed that Disney just won't accept it because they already have an infinite reserved money. They just won't accept that little thing for the sake of the fans because, you know, the fans, they don't care. They only care about his money. The worst part is Sony will never give up the license. This is going to be a struggle for the rest of time because Spider-Man is such a popular license. They ain't going to put that thing up for sale. They'd have to accept a offer in the big billions just to even sell it over to Marvel. And I don't know if Disney would be even willing to do that. It's going to be a very interesting situation looking forward because these movies are not going to be, I would guarantee not going to be as good because Kevin Feige's not involved and it's going to be Sony getting their money grubbing hands on and the product placement stuff all in it. If this deal goes through, because again, it's not finalized yet, if this is going to affect the reception of it, if this is going to affect the sales of it, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe since the public is so unified in the hate of this stuff that's going on, they'll just boycott the thing altogether and it'll just crash. So, at that point, you know, just like they'll realize that this is not going to work out for Sony. Sony's the bad guy. You're the bad guy in this situation. I hope you realize that. Despite Disney being an evil corporation, at least they made good Spider-Man movies. At least they did that. As someone said this, but I hope at the very least they leave him there for just one more movie and then just let him do whatever with it after that. Just a couple more, like 1 or 2 cameos in the last movie in the Spider-Man movies being shown in the Marvel universe, and then after then, just do whatever the fuck you want with it. I don't care, okay? I mean, it would be much preferable if they just went over to the people who really do care about it, but I just want this. Just give us at least that. Can you just have at least that for us? Just at the very least. That's the world we live in now. We're gonna get Spider-Man ripped out of the MCU because of greed. That's been my day. That's been probably your day too. So, you know, just... man. Why did anyone have to say anything? Doing nothing would have been better than doing something in this situation. Just letting it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. I guess we now know why there wasn't a Spider-Man movie announced at Comic-Con this year. We all thought, oh, he's going to be in Phase 5. Oh, but no. He ain't going to be in Phase shit. I have a conspiracy theory, though, of why this leaked. So, I'm pretty sure there was someone at either Sony or Disney who really loves Spider-Man, this version of Spider-Man, and, you know, loved the MCU and stuff like that, really into that, heard about the situation going on, and heard about what is going to be happening as a result of this, and they thought, yeah, this is not good, so they leaked it out to the public to show Disney and Sony of why doing this in the first place was a really bad idea. This is not going to go well for either of you. Just looking at the trending tab alone just tells them, yeah, we should probably make this work. We'll just have to sit and wait and see what happens with this. I hope to God that this convinces them both to just drop this thing altogether, and Disney just say, hey, let's just settle for what we got. That's a perfect world, though. We don't live in a perfect world, so I wouldn't expect it. So tell me down in the comments below what you think about the situation. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? What do you think is going to be happening from here on out? Do you think things are going to be a little bit different with Spider-Man if he does stay in the MCU, or do you think it's going to be like the report says, going to be cut out together when they finally finish this stuff going on? Yeah. So tell me down in the comments below what you think about all this. Also, make sure to subscribe and do all that other stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just had to talk about this, man. This has been khcentral, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.